In this episode, I'll gently share 50 long, calming facts about sleep, about what happens inside your body and mind as the day slowly fades away. If your thoughts wander, that's okay. If you drift in and out of awareness, that's okay too. Just let the sound of my voice stay with you as everything else slowly becomes less important. And now, we can begin. Fact number 1. Falling asleep is not something you actively do. It's something that happens when effort fades away. During the day, your brain is designed to solve problems, to notice danger, to stay alert and responsive. But sleep begins when the brain no longer feels the need to protect, to plan, or to prepare. This is why trying hard to sleep often keeps you awake. Effort sends the wrong signal. Sleep arrives not through force, but through permission, and simply listening is already enough. Fact number 2. As you get closer to sleep, your brain slowly reduces how much information it processes. Sounds become softer, thoughts lose their sharp edges, time feels less important. This is because the brain starts closing the doors to the outside world, one by one. You may still hear things, but they no longer demand a response. This is not losing awareness, it's the beginning of rest. Nothing needs your attention right now. Fact number 3. Your body temperature naturally drops as you fall asleep. This small change sends a powerful message to the brain that the active part of the day is ending. That's why evenings often feel calmer, quieter, and slower. You might notice a subtle heaviness in your limbs or a gentle sense of sinking. This isn't tiredness in a negative way. It's your body preparing to let go. Thoughts before sleep often feel random, emotional, or unfinished. This happens because the brain stops organizing information logically. During the day, thoughts are sorted and controlled. At night, that system relaxes. Memories appear without warning. Old conversations resurface. Faces and places drift by. This is not overthinking. It's a natural transition. The mind is loosening its grip. Silence often feels louder at night. Without distractions, the brain becomes more aware of itself. Small sounds feel bigger. Inner dialogue feels closer. But this heightened awareness is temporary. As sleep approaches, even awareness itself begins to soften, like a light slowly dimming. There's nothing you need to quiet. Everything will settle on its own. 6. As you begin to fall asleep, the boundary between your thoughts and your senses slowly dissolves. The brain no longer separates what is imagined from what is remembered, or what is gently perceived. A sound might blend into a memory, a thought might turn into an image might fade into nothing at all. This is because the brain is shifting away from linear awareness and toward a softer, more fluid state. There is no clear beginning or end to thoughts anymore. They arrive, drift, and disappear without asking for your involvement. This gentle confusion is not a problem to solve. It's one of the most reliable signs that sleep is already approaching. 7. Right before sleep, the brain becomes deeply inward focused. Attention slowly turns away from the world and toward internal sensations. Breathing becomes more noticeable. The weight of your body feels heavier. The surface beneath you feels more supportive. This inward shift is guided by the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for rest and repair. Nothing needs to change for the system to work. It activates naturally when nothing is being demanded of you. Simply lying still and listening is enough to allow it to happen. 8. Time begins to lose its structure as sleep approaches. Minutes feel longer, or suddenly shorter, or strangely irrelevant. This happens because the brain's internal clock is no longer being actively checked. Deadlines dissolve, schedules fade, the future stops pulling at your attention. There's only this moment, and even this moment is becoming softer and less defined. This is not disorientation, it's relief. The mind is stepping out of time and into rest. 9. Emotions often become clearer right before sleep. Feelings that stayed quiet during the day may gently surface at night. Not to overwhelm you, but because the brain finally has space to notice them. There is no need to analyze these emotions, no need to label them, no need to resolve anything. They arise, exist for a moment, and then pass. Sleep doesn't require emotional clarity, only emotional permission. Everything you feel is allowed to soften. 10. As sleep deepens, the sense of self becomes less defined. You are no longer thinking about yourself as much as simply existing. The inner voice slows, descriptions fade, awareness becomes wider and quieter. This is why sleep can feel like disappearing, not in a frightening way, but in a gentle one. The boundaries that define you relax. There is nothing to hold together anymore, nothing to maintain, just rest, unfolding naturally. 11. As sleep approaches, the brain slowly stops checking for meaning. During the day, almost everything is interpreted. Every sound, every word, every thought is analyzed, categorized, and evaluated. But near sleep, this system begins to shut down. Sounds no longer mean anything. Thoughts no longer need conclusions. Sensations no longer require explanations. A noise can simply be a noise. A thought can simply pass through. A feeling can exist without a story attached to it. This is why unfinished thoughts no longer feel urgent, why questions don't need answers, why curiosity softens into quiet acceptance. The brain is no longer searching, it's settling, and in that settling, rest becomes possible. 12. Right before falling asleep, the brain briefly becomes more creative. Images may appear without logic, ideas may connect in unusual ways, scenes may form and dissolve without effort. This happens because the brain's filtering system relaxes, allowing thoughts to flow freely without judgment or control. It's the same reason people often have sudden insights at night, or dream-like thoughts that feel meaningful but don't ask to be remembered. This creativity isn't meant to be used, it's meant to fade. As sleep deepens, even these images lose their clarity. They soften, slow down, and gently disappear, leaving behind nothing to follow, nothing to hold on to, only rest. 13. As you move closer to sleep, your breathing naturally begins to change. It becomes slower, deeper, and less intentional. You don't need to control it for this to happen. In fact, it happens best when you stop noticing it altogether. The body knows how to breathe for sleep. It has done this thousands of times before. Each breath gently signals safety to the nervous system, telling it that nothing is required, nothing is urgent, and nothing is to be done. Over time, even the awareness of breathing softens until it fades into the background, quietly carrying you forward. 14. As sleep approaches, the muscles of the body begin to release tension in stages. Not all at once, not suddenly. Small areas soften first. The jaw loosens, the shoulders sink, the hands feel heavier. This release is subtle, sometimes so subtle that it's barely noticeable. But the body feels the difference. It's the quiet undoing of effort, the gentle letting go of holding. There's no correct order, no need to assist the process. The body remembers how to rest, even if the mind forgets. 15. Before sleep, the brain becomes less interested in language. Words begin to lose their sharp definitions. Sentences feel unnecessary. Inner dialogue slows. Thoughts may arrive as fragments instead of full ideas, a word, an image, a feeling. This is because the brain is shifting away from verbal thinking and toward a more sensory, dreamlike mode. Meaning no longer needs to be spoken, understanding no longer needs structure. Eventually, even fragments dissolve, leaving only quiet awareness, and then, even that begins to fade. 16. As the mind relaxes, memories often drift through without warning. Not because they are important, but because the brain is sorting and releasing that day. Moments replay themselves gently. Faces appear and disappear. Places surface briefly, then fade. There is no message hidden in these memories, no task waiting to be completed. They are simply passing through on their way out. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to push them away. They will live on their own, as sleep quietly takes their place. As sleep gets closer, the brain slowly releases its grip on control. During the day, control is constant. You choose where to focus, you decide what matters, you guide your thoughts. But near sleep, control becomes unnecessary. Thoughts no longer need direction. Attention no longer needs to be placed anywhere. The mind begins to wander on its own, moving without purpose, without destination. This wandering is not distraction, it's surrender. And surrender in one of the final doors that opens before sleep arrives. 18. The sensation of heaviness in the body is a natural part of falling asleep. Arms feel warmer, legs feel heavier. The body feels more connected to the surface beneath it. This happens because muscle activity is slowly decreasing and the body is conserving energy for rest. There is no need to adjust your position, no need to search for perfect comfort. The body adapts on its own. Even stillness itself becomes comfortable as the urge to move quietly disappears. 19. Before sleep, the mind becomes less interested in the future. Plans lose urgency, worries lose momentum, as I lost momentum 2 seconds ago. Tomorrow feels far away. This happens because the brain temporarily steps out of survival mode. There is nothing to prepare for right now, nothing to predict, nothing to solve. The future can wait. In this moment, existence is enough, and slowly, even the concept of moment begins to dissolve. 20. As you cross deeper into sleep, awareness becomes softer and wider. You may feel present, but not confused. Conscious, but not thinking. This state is not fully awake and not yet asleep. It's a quiet in-between space, where effort no longer belongs. Many people drift through this state without noticing. Others linger here gently. Either way, it always leads forward. There's nothing to do but allow it. And allowing is already happening. 21. As sleep draws nearer, the brain gradually stops monitoring the body so closely. During the day, it constantly checks posture, balance, and movement. It notices small discomforts and urges adjustment. But near sleep, this monitoring relaxes. Small sensations no longer demand attention. Minor discomforts fade into the background. The body feels more unfiled, less fragmented. You may notice that you no longer feel each individual part of yourself. Instead, the body becomes one quiet, heavy presence. This is the nervous system trusting, and nothing needs correction. And trust is one of the deepest signals of safety. 22. Right before sleep, the sense of effort quietly disappears. Holding thoughts together feels unnecessary. Maintaining awareness feels optional. Even listening requires less and less involvement. The mind no longer tries to stay alert. It simply notices and then releases. This is why sleep can feel like slipping away rather than arriving. There is no clear moment of transition, no signal that says, now. Effort fades first, the intention, and finally, even noticing itself softens. Sleep doesn't interrupt consciousness, it gently replaces it. 23. As you move deeper towards sleep, the brain begins to reduce emotional intensity. Feelings don't disappear, but they lose their sharp edges. Joy becomes warmth, sadness becomes heaviness, anxiety becomes quiet alertness that slowly dissolves. This happens because emotional centers of the brain are no longer being fooled by thought. Without stories to support them, emotions naturally soften. You don't need to calm yourself. The brain is already doing that work for you. Everything is slowly turning down its volume. 24. In the moments before sleep, the boundary between inside and outside begins to blur. Sounds feel closer, thoughts feel farther away. The sense of location becomes less precise. You may not feel exactly where you are in the room. You may not feel the edges of your body as clearly. This is because spatial awareness is no longer important. The brain doesn't need to map the environment anymore. It's preparing to enter a place without space. A place made of rest, not position. 25. Eventually the mind stops thinking and asking for continuity. Thoughts no longer connect to one another. One moment doesn't need to follow the last. There may be gaps, blank spaces, moments when nothing seems to happen at all. These gaps are not emptiness, they are the first quiet expressions of sleep. The mind is learning how to be still without disappearing, and as those spaces grow longer, sleep quietly settles in between them. As sleep deepens, the brain slowly stops striking cause and effect. Thoughts no longer need to lead anywhere. One idea doesn't need to explain the next. This is why logic begins to fade, why sequences break apart, why moments feel disconnected. The brain is no longer building meaning, it's resting from the need to understand. In this state, nothing has to make sense. Nothing needs to be resolved. Understanding belongs to the day. Night belongs to release, and release is already unfolding. 27. The feeling of being watched by your own thoughts gradually disappears. Earlier, awareness may have felt sharp, as if the mind was observing itself. But near sleep, that observer softens. There is less self-checking, less monitoring, less inner commentary. Awareness becomes passive, like a light left in an empty room. Eventually, even the sense of being aware becomes quiet enough to fade. Nothing is missing when this happens, only effort leaves. 29. Excuse me. 28. I was mistaken, and I accept that. As sleep approaches, the body begins to forget gravity. Weight remains, but the pull feels different. The body no longer resists the surface beneath it. There is no holding, no adjustment. The sensation of falling asleep often feels like sinking, floating, or gently drifting downward. This isn't movement. It's the absence of resistance. The body isn't going anywhere, it's simply stopping the effort to stay upright. Rest is taking over. 29. Before sleep, the brain stops rehearsing itself. Rehearsing the self. The brain stopping doing it to itself. Names, roles, identities, and expectations lose relevance. You are no longer who you were today. You are not yet who you'll be tomorrow. For a while, you're simply here. This is why sleep feels freeing. There's no identity to maintain, no performance to continue. The self loosens, and in that loosening, rest becomes effortless. 30. As the transition continues, the mind becomes comfortable with stillness. Stillness no longer feels empty, it feels full. There is no urge to fill space with thought. No need for sound, no need for direction. Silence becomes gentle, darkness becomes familiar. This is not the end of awareness, it's awareness at rest. And from the stillness, sleep arrives natural. 31. As sleep takes hold, the brain becomes less interested in precision. Details blur, edges soften, exactness fades. You may no longer notice where one sensation ends and another begins. This is because the brain is turning away from fine control and toward global rest. Sharp awareness isn't needed anymore, only gentle presence, and even that presence is becoming quieter. 32. The sense of direction slowly disappears before sleep. Up and down feel less certain. Near and far lose importance. You may feel certain, without knowing exactly where the center is. This happens because spatial orientation no longer serves a purpose. The brain doesn't need a map. There is nowhere to go. You are already where you need to be. 33. As sleep deepens, the brain reduces how often it checks reality. This is why dreamlike thoughts can appear while you still feel awake. Images from without effort. Scenes shift without explanation. The mind is rehearsing sleep, testing the space between awareness and dreaming. There is nothing to hold on to here, nothing to follow. Let the images come and go as they choose. 34. Physical boundaries soften before sleep. The edges of your body feel less defined. The space around you feels closer and loosen. This happens because the brain is no longer prioritizing separation. There's distinction between self and environment. Everything feels more blended, more unfied. This blending is safe, it's familiar, it's the body remembering how to rest completely. 35. As sleep approaches, the idea of trying disappears. You are no longer attempting to fall asleep. You are simply allowing it. This is the moment many people miss, cause nothing dramatic happens. No signal, no switch, just a quieter shift from doing to being. And in that being, sleep quietly continues. 36. As sleep grows deeper, the mind becomes comfortable with not knowing. Questions lose importance. Uncertainty feels neutral instead of uncomfortable. The brain no longer looks for clarity or reassurance. It no longer needs certainty to feel safe. This is why unsettled thoughts no longer disturb you. They simply stop asking for attention. Not knowing becomes peaceful. Incomplete feels complete enough. The mind is resting from understanding itself. 37. Before sleep, the brain gradually stops checking whether you are awake or not. Awareness becomes softer and less defined. You may feel awake without actively thinking about it. This is the quiet threshold where wakefulness fades without needing permission. There is no moment to notice, no line to cross. Sleep doesn't arrive suddenly, it slowly replaces awareness like a shadow moving across a room. 38. As sleep approaches, the nervous system releases its final layers of alertness. Muscles that were holding lightly let go completely. The face relaxes. Every muscle and every neuron relaxes too. The eyes rest behind closed lids. Even the effort to stay still disappears. The body no longer prepares for movement. It prepares for restoration. Nothing is core. 39. Thoughts near sleep often repeat themselves. The same idea may appear again and again, each time softer than before. This repetition isn't fixation. It's the mind winding down, like a sound echoing until it fades. Thoughts lose energy with each return. Eventually they dissolve on their own, without needing resolution. Repetition is not resistance, it's release in slow motion. 40. As you move deeper into sleep, awareness becomes spacious. There is less focus on any one thing, more room between sensations. This spaciousness feels open, quiet, and gentle. Nothing pulls your attention strongly. Nothing asks to be followed. Awareness rests without direction. And in that resting, sleep continues naturally. As sleep becomes more stable, the mind stops trying to keep track of itself. You no longer wonder whether you are awake or asleep. That question simply fades away. Awareness no longer checks in. It no longer asks, "Am I still here?" This is because the brain no longer needs confirmation. Consciousness doesn't disappear. It becomes quiet enough that it doesn't need a time. This quiet is not emptiness. It's rest without effort. 42. Before sleep fully takes over, the brain allows moments of complete stillness. Not just physical stillness, but mental stillness. Brief pauses appear between thoughts, small gaps where nothing happens at all. These pauses may feel unfamiliar at first, but they are deeply natural. They are the spaces where sleep gently enters. Nothing fills these moments. Nothing needs to. They are complete exactly as they are. 43. As sleep deepens, emotional memory loosens its grip. Past experiences stop carrying weight. Stories lose their emotional charge. What once felt important now feels distant and quiet. This is because the brain is no longer replaying meaning, it's simply resting from it. Emotions don't need closure tonight. They don't need understanding. They are allowed to soften and drift away. 44. The sense of time fades almost completely before sleep. There is no longer a sense of how long anything lasts. Moments blend together. Awareness floats without reference. This is why sleep feels timeless. There is no past pulling you back, no future pulling you forward. Only a gentle present that slowly dissolves into rest. 45. As sleep becomes dominant, even the act of listening fades. Sounds no longer register as sounds. They become texture, then silent. The mind no longer follows rhythm or meaning. It simply allows sensation to pass through. Nothing interrupts this process. Nothing needs to. Listening transforms into resting, and resting continues. 46. As sleep fully settles in, the brain releases the need of awareness, not suddenly but completely. Awareness simply becomes optional. There is no effort to stay present, no effort to drift away. Being awake and being asleep begin to feel like the same gentle state. This is why sleep doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like easing into something familiar. The mind stops holding itself together, and nothing falls apart when it does. 47. The body no longer distinguishes between rest and stillness. Muscles remain relaxed without instruction. Breathing continues without notice. There is no signal sent to maintain comfort. Comfort maintains itself. This is the body returning to its most natural rhythm. Not productivity, not readiness, just restoration. The body remembers how to heal when nothing interfaces. 48. As sleep deepens, the mind becomes unreachable to worry. Not because worries are solved, but because the mind no longer knows how to hold them. Concerns lose their shape, thoughts lose their urgency. There is no space for worry to land. Sleep doesn't fight anxiety. It simply removes the space anxiety needs to exist. And what remains is quiet. 49. At the deepest edge of falling asleep, even awareness dissolves gently. There is no observer, no experience to describe, just a smooth, quiet absence of effort. This is not darkness, not emptiness. It's rest without needing to be noticed. The mind stops narrating, the body stops responding. Everything settles exactly where it belongs. 50. Sleep is not something you enter, it's something you stop resisting. When there is nothing left to manage, nothing left to understand, nothing left to hold, sleep arrives on its own. Not as an event, not as a moment, but as a continuation of rest. And from here, there is nowhere else to go. Sleep well, my friend. I hope I'll see you tomorrow after tomorrow. And if you're still awake, go and watch my other episode that I created with my soul, with no AI, but with a script that AI had generated. You know, I was trying to read it with all my heart, and I really thought about every word of this text. I truly mean the same path and the same message that you heard today. Lean on your pillow and rest.